Hello everyone. It's James again. And before I start today's video, I just want to quickly say, all work in this video contains 100% original content of and by myself James Smith, otherwise known as Bgood 4000, and was uniquely created with NAWMAL software, by myself James Smith. As I purchased commercial rights from NAWMAL to produce my unique and original video with this software. Commentary is uniquely my own thoughts, feelings, and expressions. Now that I have that out of the way, I do hope your day is going better than fantastic. And I also hope your journey to self-betterment is going fantastic as well. Which brings me to the topic of this video. Self-betterment. When we hear things like living our best life and self-betterment, it's easy to get things twisted up. When what we are fed by television and other sources give us a warped understanding of what all that means. Yesterday I made a video talking about the high value craze. And I've watched different videos where callers call into shows just looking for the most unrealistic things in a mate. And then one has to ask, what would happen if you married such a high value, or so-called high value individual and they became sick? And or they lost their job? What would you do? I wanted to talk more about this. Because there's always this big question. Are we living in a more narcissistic society than ever? Well, to answer your question, let's look at divorce and the average reason for it. Most divorces out there aren't filed because of abuse. Though abuse does happen. In many forms, as we know. But most divorces happen and are filed for just not getting along. Which is code, in my humble cartoon opinion. That someone found a bigger, better deal and now you have been dumped to the side of the road. And they might still make your life miserable to pay money you don't have. Now who does that sound like to you? What kind of person does that to someone else? Just treats them like they are disposable trash. They love you today and tomorrow they could care less about you. That's right. It sounds just like a narcissist, doesn't it? They can discard you like they never knew you. And drag you through all kinds of pain and misery after the fact. Even when they once said they loved you. That's a narcissist, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong in this. However, this is happening every single day across the world. And here's the crazy thing. It's seen as somehow normal. Talk shows seem to promote this way of life as somehow liberating. About just waking up one day and ditching someone that hasn't done anything wrong to you. Just so you can find yourself and be with other people that don't care about you. And it's given the name liberating. But we know this for what it is. It's called the narcissist discard phase. You see, the minute you have a society where friendships are disposable, and marriages and families are disposable as well, where you can tell someone you love them one minute, and the next minute they become ill. And once you see that money slowly fade away, you leave them to fend for themselves, while you hop onto the next bigger, better deal. Once you have that taking place, you have a by and large narcissistic society. Don't get me wrong. There are still some people trying to put their best foot forward. Flawed people for sure. But people that try their best. But the normal trend in society is to get what you can get at all cost. Even if it means using someone else and discarding them like they never mattered to you. And you have people doing this that aren't full-on narcissist. They are just taking on the characteristics of the narcissist because they don't want to be left out. People will follow the crowd, so to speak. Even if it means walking off of a bridge, metaphorically speaking. But I'm curious. I'm curious of those that have done this. And then realized maybe when it was happening and or after the fact they were making a huge mistake. Because though I believe I have a good understanding of this subject, I want to peel back the layers of this massive problem as much as I can. Because here's the thing. Though narcissists have always existed, they've always existed in society. But we didn't hold them up in high regard. Now most of what is being pushed in society is to live the way of the narcissist. And you can look at most if not all of the things narcissists do. And you can find it repackaged and pushed in society under a different name. As something good and somehow acceptable. It's mind-boggling. But I'm curious to know more about your experience. Because this information needs to be shared. So it can help prevent others from going down a dead-end street. And literally ruining their lives. All the while the narcissists in our society. The true narcissists. The ones that don't self-reflect. The ones with no empathy. The ones with no remorse or guilt. These individuals. They will just sit there and enjoy the narcissistic supply that you've given to them on a silver platter. That's right. Narcissists don't just like to enter people's lives and use them and discard them. They also love to turn people into users and discarders as well. They want to see you and your happy relationship go up in smoke. Because you chose to listen to them. Because you chose to leave your sick spouse. Or maybe your spouse lost their job and the best replacement job they could get was less than what they were previously making. For those of you that consider yourself to be not a narcissist, that might have done this to someone. How would you feel if someone left you when you were sick? Or if you lost your job? I remember when I was young. I knew that my mother had me to have an income. She had myself and my brother to have an income. She put no care into our upbringing and did most of the crazy things narcissistic parents do to their sons and daughters. And at the end of the day, I didn't feel cared for. I didn't feel loved. And I felt like all I was a check. I was a check. And many of you that know more of my story? When I turned 18, she gave me the option of getting on the system like her somehow or some way. Or I had to leave. Because I would ruin her money that she was getting for assistance because I was working. And the money she was getting because of me was over because I was 18. What do you think I felt like? And to those this happened to as well. What do you think they felt like? Well, many of us grew up to be used for money even if we didn't have much by these narcissists in marriage and dating relationships. Or people swayed by society that weren't narcissists that chose to follow the crowd and act like one. And the question is, if this is you, and you don't feel like you are a narcissist, but you've done this to someone, and you feel bad about it, and you are fixing your life. But my question is to you. Could you imagine someone treating you like this? And if you really have put yourself in the shoes of someone else and you truly get it, what's the way to reverse this in society? What message can be pushed to help others understand they are being tricked to live the way of a narcissist, but it's just packaged and put under a different name? Remember, even Satan can come to you as an angel of light. The devil can often show you something that looks really good but is really bad for you. The devil can entice you and lure you in with false promises and half-truths. And that's all this high-value thing is. Because it's surrounded around what someone makes and how much they have. Not what is the content of their character. Because you can meet someone so-called high value today. But what happens tomorrow if they lose it all through no fault of their own? What then? Well, if you listen to society, you are taught to have no true connections or bonding, but to discard that person and move on to the next. Narcissism is growing. But so is your awakening. People are talking about this stuff. And people are self-reflecting and they are figuring this stuff out. They are figuring out they've been lied to. They are slowly starting to understand they've been tricked. And I would like to go over this some more. So if this is you, if this speaks to you, share some experiences below in the comments section and let's see if it can spark a good conversation and possibly videos that might help not only us, but a greater amount of people worldwide. Because that's what it's all about. Getting the word out. With that said, I do hope your day is blessed. And until next time, bye for now. And be good to yourself.